Every great fortune in the market begins quietly long before the newspapers catch on, long before the chatter starts, and long before the public even suspects what's coming. The real money, the kind that builds empires, is made not by chasing what's already running, but by recognizing what's just beginning to stir. That's the art of spotting early breakouts, the kind that whisper before they roar. You see, markets are like people. They give hints, they reveal moods, and they always speak a language. The question is, are you listening? Most traders never are. They're too busy reacting instead of observing. They want action, not understanding. But in this game, patience pays, and knowledge protects. I learned this the hard way. Standing in the old bucket shops where I started as a boy, I'd watch prices flicker on the ticker tape and see movements that made no sense until they suddenly did. Over time, I realized that every major move in the market, every bull run, every crash, every great campaign was preceded by subtle signs. You could call them secrets, but they're really just truths hidden in plain sight. And once you learn to see them, you can spot early breakouts long before the crowd does. The first secret is this: a breakout begins in silence. Before a stock runs, it rests. It drifts sideways, seemingly doing nothing. The amateurs lose interest and sell out of boredom. But that quiet, that dullness, is exactly what the professionals wait for. Because while the surface looks dead, accumulation is happening underneath. Smart money, those who know something the public doesn't, is quietly building positions. They don't rush, they don't chase. They let the market absorb every share they buy without disturbing the price too much. If you learn to spot these accumulation phases, you'll have your first clue that a breakout is coming. You'll notice a tightening of price ranges, a drying up of volume on down days, and a slow, deliberate climb that refuses to break down. That's when you must start paying attention. Not when it explodes, when it whispers. The second secret: watch for volume that confirms conviction. The market is built on two elements, price and volume. Price tells you what's happening. Volume tells you who's behind it. When volume expands in the direction of the breakout, that's confirmation. It means big operators are entering the field. When volume dries up on declines and expands on rallies, it's the market revealing its hand. I used to sit for hours, watching the ticker, not for excitement but for evidence. I wasn't trying to guess. Guessing is gambling. I was studying behavior. When I saw a stock break out of a tight range on surging volume after weeks of quiet accumulation, I knew something was changing. It wasn't luck. It was logic. The forces of demand had overcome supply. And that, my friend, is the only reason prices rise. But don't mistake noise for conviction. Many traders jump at every spike thinking it's a breakout, only to be trapped when the price reverses. False moves are the market's favorite trick. The professionals use them to shake out weak hands before the real move begins. So you must learn to distinguish between genuine strength and manufactured excitement. A true breakout sustains itself. It pulls back, tests the level, and holds. That's the difference between a flash and a fire. The third secret: a breakout is worthless without context. I've seen too many traders lose fortunes because they bought into strength without understanding where they stood in the larger market picture. The market moves in cycles: accumulation, advance, distribution, and decline. If you buy breakouts in a distribution phase, you're walking into a trap. You're buying from the professionals who are selling. Always align your breakout trades with the broader trend. Is the general market strong or weak? Are leading stocks confirming or diverging? Are new highs expanding or shrinking? These questions determine whether your breakout has the wind at its back or resistance in its face. I never took a position without reading the overall temperature of the market. Because even the best stock can't swim against a powerful tide. When the market turns bearish, early breakouts often fail. They look promising, they tease you with strength, but then they crumble. Why? Because the tide of sentiment is against you. That's why I say before you act, analyze. Before you buy, observe. The tape never lies, but it does mislead those who don't understand the environment. The fourth secret: true strength needs no advertisement. In every bull market, you'll find a handful of stocks that lead the way. They show relentless strength. Even on market corrections, they barely flinch. These are the stocks under strong sponsorship, the kind professionals quietly accumulate for months, and when they finally break out, they move like wild horses unleashed. You won't find these early. You'll feel them. The market tells you through behavior. Watch how a stock reacts to bad news. If it refuses to go down, that's strength. Watch how it trades when the market dips. If it holds firm, that's strength. And when you see a stock moving to new highs before the general market does, that's your signal. It's telling you, I'm ready. I made some of my greatest profits by following this principle. When the market was uncertain, I watched for stocks that acted independently stronger than the crowd. They were the first to break out and the last to give up. These were the leaders. Follow the leaders, not the laggards. But remember, strength isn't about headlines or hype. It's about persistence. A true leader doesn't need attention. It shows power through price action. It behaves differently. And if you develop the eye to see that, you'll be one step ahead of those who wait for confirmation from the newspapers or social media chatter. The fifth secret: discipline is your only edge. No matter how good your analysis is, it means nothing without discipline. The early breakout is a game of patience and precision. The biggest mistake traders make is acting too early or too late. They see a hint of movement and jump in before the breakout confirms, or they wait for too much proof and end up buying from the professionals at the top. Both ways lead to ruin. The secret lies in preparation. You must have your levels marked. Know your trigger point, your stop loss, and your target before the price even moves. When the breakout occurs, act decisively. Don't hesitate. Don't chase either. If you miss it, wait for the next one. The market isn't a one-time opportunity. It's a continuous stream of chances for those who are prepared. In my career, I've seen fortunes made and lost not because traders didn't know enough, but because they couldn't control themselves. They let hope replace discipline. They let fear override reason. But the market punishes emotion. It rewards structure. If you want to survive, you must learn to think in probabilities, not certainties. No setup, no matter how perfect, is guaranteed. That's why stops exist not as suggestions, but as lifelines. Let me tell you something the crowd never understands. The goal isn't to be right every time. The goal is to make money when you're right and lose little when you're wrong. If you do that consistently, you'll build wealth steadily, without drama. Early breakouts reward those who wait for confirmation and punish those who act on impulse. There were times in my life when I ignored my own rules, when greed whispered louder than reason. Every time, I paid for it. The market doesn't forgive arrogance. It doesn't care how much you made yesterday. It only tests what you'll do today. That's why every trade must be treated as new. No bias, no emotion, no memory. Just the clean logic of price, volume, and timing. Spotting early breakouts isn't magic, it's method. It's the ability to see patterns repeat, to sense pressure building beneath the surface, and to act when the odds align in your favor. It's not about prediction, it's about preparation. The professional doesn't need to know the future, he just needs to recognize opportunity when it arrives. And when it does, it's usually quiet. The crowd is asleep. The news hasn't noticed. The charts look dull. That's when the real players step in. Because by the time the breakout becomes obvious, the easy money is already gone. The public will buy your shares while you take your profits. That's the cycle, as old as the market itself. Here's the truth most traders never face. You don't need to trade every day. You only need to trade when the odds are heavily in your favor. The rest of the time, your job is to wait, watch, and prepare. That's what separates a professional operator from a gambler. The gambler needs constant action. The professional needs only the right moment. If you train your eye to recognize the signs, the quiet accumulation, the tightening range, the volume shift, the market context, and the leadership strength, you'll begin to see what others can't. You'll learn to anticipate instead of react. You'll stop chasing and start positioning. Remember this: the market is a mirror of human nature. It never changes because people never change. Greed, fear, hope, impatience, they're eternal. Your job is to rise above them. To see clearly when others are clouded by emotion, that's what makes you an operator, not a participant. When you master patience and discipline, when you learn to listen to the market's quiet language, you'll start catching those early breakouts before the crowd does. And when they finally see what you saw long ago, you'll already be counting profits, not making predictions. That's the difference between trading the news and trading the truth. The early breakout belongs to those who can see before others believe. It belongs to those who can sit still, study deeply, and act decisively. Because in the end, the market rewards not the boldest, but the most prepared. The quiet accumulation, the subtle strength, the calm before the storm, those are your signals. Learn to see them, and you'll never have to chase opportunity again. The opportunity will reveal itself to you just as it always has to those who are ready to listen.